Shedeur Sanders goes off after reporter calls him just a practice player. 26:08:25, 11 p.m. Description heated exchange just erupted after a reporter confronted Shedeur Sanders, calling him just a practice player and demanding the excuses stop. The blunt criticism stunned fans and sparked fiery reactions across the sports world. Is this unfair targeting of a young QB or tough truth he needs to hear? Watch the full confrontation now, and don't forget to subscribe for daily sports and celebrity drama updates. Hashtags Shedeur Sanders, NFL drama, sports buzz, celebrity drama, NFL updates, football news, sports talk, reporter clash. Keywords, SQL format, celebrity drama, NFL news, Shedeur Sanders, reporter clash, NFL controversy, quarterback drama, football gossip, athlete criticism, NFL updates, viral NFL moment, sports reaction, NFL confrontation, football drama, athlete spotlight, NFL meltdown. Something about this doesn't feel like normal criticism anymore. Analysts, reporters, and ESPN, every throw he doesn't make, every sack he takes, every missed checkdown, it's all being picked apart as if they're waiting for him to fail. Script. But here's the real question. Is this just about football, or are people just sick of seeing another Sanders in the spotlight? Because when Shedeur confronted reporter Tony Grossi after the Carolina game, it wasn't cocky, it was personal. He questioned why Grossi never had anything positive to say. And Grossi's response? He doubled down, called Shedeur a practice squad player on the active roster, said no one would pick him up, 6th or 7th round talent at best. Meanwhile, ESPN rolled out Courtney Cronin, who basically said the Browns are doing the right thing by keeping him buried. She even implied he was protected by being pulled before the 2-minute drill, like they were doing him a favor. Let that sink in. Since when is pulling a quarterback before a clutch moment called growth? Since when is 5 sacks behind a crumbling third-string line called a failure? And what none of them are saying out loud, what fans are starting to notice, is this. They're not talking about what happened on the field. They're treating Shedeur like they've already made up their minds. So let's talk about it. Let's break down the criticism, the footage, the reactions, and see if this is a fair critique of a young QB trying to earn his spot, or something much deeper. After the Carolina game, when Shedeur pulled off a standout performance, he confronted Grossi face-to-face. Why don't you ever have anything positive to say about me? I'd be hoping you would say something good, but it's always negative. That wasn't just a media moment. That was frustration boiling over. And Grossi, he didn't back down. Just days later, he went on air and called Shedeur a practice squad player on the active roster. Then took it even further, claiming that nobody would pick him up if the Browns released him. He said Shedeur doesn't even crack his personal top 3. That list? Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, Tyler Huntley. Now pause for a second. Huntley was just waived by the Browns. Flacco hasn't played a full season in years. Gabriel got live reps with better protection. But somehow, Shedeur, who got fewer reps, no chemistry, and a broken O-line, isn't even worth stashing? That doesn't sound like analysis. That sounds like someone with a decision already made. Then Grossi threw in the classic dismissive line, "There's always an excuse for this guy." But if this was any other rookie QB, surrounded by cut players and third stringers, that context would be the headline, not the punchline. With Grossi, it's never been about development. It's been about discrediting. And once he labeled Shedeur as nothing more than a hyped-up roster filler, the rest of the media didn't hesitate to pile on. After Grossi aired his shots, the next wave came from a much bigger stage, ESPN. And their message? Shedeur Sanders isn't ready, and that's okay. But it wasn't just the words. It was how they said them. Courtney Cronin took the lead, pointing out that Shedeur was once on top of the world after his breakout debut against Carolina. MVP-level throws, command of the pocket. Everyone was hyped. But then, he missed time with an oblique injury. missed some practice, didn't play in the next game. And just like that, the praise flipped into doubt. Cronin says the momentum dissipated, that he came back flat, that he didn't look ready. But instead of asking why, she chalked it up to what? Growing pains? Development? No, she said the Browns were doing the right thing by keeping him buried on the depth chart. Then came the most telling line of all. They spared him by sitting him for the 2-minute drill. Spared him? Let's rewind. This is a quarterback who only got 17 total snaps behind a line of waived players with third-tier weapons. And instead of noting the unfair setup, ESPN praised the coach for pulling him early, like it was an act of mercy, not strategy. The tone wasn't about football anymore. It was about managing perception. And what ESPN chose not to say says a lot about what this really is. Because the moment Shedeur missed a few throws, everyone acted like they'd been waiting for him to fall all along. But then came one analyst who went even deeper into the actual tape. While ESPN's tone focused more on narrative, Dan Orlovsky went straight to the film. And what he showed was both revealing and frustrating. On one play, Orlovsky pointed out a wide-open checkdown Shedeur ignored. Instead of making the simple throw, he stayed glued to his deeper reads and ended up holding the ball too long, again. Next play, same issue. A basic spot concept. The defender's movement tells you where the ball should go, and Shedeur just didn't pull the trigger. Then came the sack fumble. The timing's off. The anticipation isn't there. He hesitates again, and boom, turnover. Orlovsky was clear. This stuff showed up on his college tape, and it's happening again. And he's not wrong. This breakdown wasn't disrespectful. It was technical, fair. A QB missing reads, holding the ball, trying to make plays that just aren't there. But what didn't get said? That Shedeur was playing behind a group of linemen who were cut less than 24 hours later. That he had 0 reps with the ones. No rhythm, no real-time chemistry. So yeah, his flaws were exposed. But under conditions designed to bring them out, Orlovsky gave real football insight. But the full context? Still missing. And now, the narrative around Shedeur wasn't just about development. It was turning personal. At some point, it stopped feeling like analysis and started sounding like resentment. When ESPN's Courtney Cronin described Shedeur's early success as top of the world, the throwaway tone, the sarcasm, it didn't feel like someone evaluating tape. It felt like someone fed up with the Sanders hype, someone who's been waiting for the fall, not celebrating the rise. And that's not rare. Tony Grossi echoed it loud and clear when he dismissed any talk of context surrounding Shedeur's performance, saying, "There's always an excuse with this guy." No mention of the third-string O-line he played behind. No mention of the reps he didn't get or the rotations he never practiced with. Just play better. Simple, dismissive, final. It's the kind of frustration usually reserved for players people already dislike, not rookies still finding their rhythm in preseason. Which makes you wonder, is the target on Shedeur's back really about his play or his last name? Because let's be honest, he's not just a rookie quarterback. He's Deion Sanders' son. He's got brand deals, media buzz, social swagger, and a spotlight before he's taken a regular season snap. And like it or not, that shakes things up in NFL culture. Some reporters pride themselves on bringing stars back down to earth, especially ones who walk in carrying a legacy. Right now, it feels personal. The tone, the body language, the dismissal of everything Shedeur didn't control. And once it becomes personal, the critics stop analyzing and start rooting. Here's what no one on TV seems to want to say out loud. Shedeur Sanders wasn't even given the tools to succeed. When he finally got game action, he wasn't playing with the guys who will actually make the roster. He wound up behind a third-string offensive line, made up of players who were literally cut the next morning. His tight ends waived. His top receivers pulled. How do you build rhythm with players you barely practiced with? If this really was about quarterback development, where's the opportunity to develop? Shedeur didn't see reps with the ones. He didn't have a chance to build chemistry, work timing, or even adjust to the real pace of NFL defenses. The coaching staff gave him a test, but provided no materials, then stood back and let the media grade his failure. And yet, the conversation continues like none of that matters. Analysts act like he got a full shot, as if the results were all that counted, as if every snap he took happened under fair conditions. But it didn't. Shedeur wasn't just trying to make a play. He was trying to survive a situation that would have buried any rookie quarterback. And the fact that most media outlets refuse to mention it, that's telling. His critics want results, but ignore the conditions. They want stats, but ignore the story behind them. And that's how narratives get built. Quietly, conveniently, without truth. Just judgment. The criticism might be loud. The media might be relentless. But here's the part they can't control. Shedeur Sanders' response. He's still at practice, still studying film, still showing that same poise and patience that stood out during his hot start against Carolina. And that matters, because in the NFL, opportunity doesn't always come when you expect it. It just shows up, and you'd better be ready. Whether it's reps in practice, injury shakeups on the depth chart, or joint sessions with other teams, Shedeur now lives in the space where preparation meets timing. The situation he's in right now doesn't define him, but how he handles it absolutely could. He's not QB1, not QB2. He might not even be QB3 today. But we've seen this story flip before. Talented guys buried in the system who finally get their shot and take it. Because when your name's not being called, that quiet work you put in, that's what becomes undeniable. And if not in Cleveland, maybe somewhere else. Teams are always watching, always making backup plans. And if all they remember is what he did against Carolina, he's already left a better impression than most rookies ever do that early. He may not control the reps, the depth chart, or the media spin, but one thing's crystal clear. They haven't seen the best of him yet, not even close. So now we've seen it all, the game tape, the criticism, the headlines, the silence, and the question still hangs heavy. Is Shedeur Sanders just going through a normal rookie struggle, or is he being judged by a different standard? Because the more you look at it, the more obvious it becomes. His last name isn't just on the back of his jersey. It's on every mic, every tweet, every hot take. And that name, it brings legacy, expectations, hype, and a whole lot of resentment. Whether it's Tony Grossi brushing him off as a practice squad player, or ESPN personalities treating every missed throw like confirmation bias, the tone surrounding Shedeur just feels different. It feels personal. But here's the catch. Even through the noise, even with the odds stacked and the reps missing, he handled it all with maturity most rookies don't show. No excuses, no finger pointing, just accountability. That's what makes him dangerous. Because when a guy this young can absorb pressure, take public hits, and still keep working, you realize he's only getting better. Silently, patiently, with the world watching and waiting. This isn't about whether he had a bad game. This is about whether the league is ready for what happens when Shedeur finally gets everything they've been denying him. Time, protection, and a real shot. So is he being pushed down because he's not good enough, or because deep down, they know exactly how good he's going to be?